Good.
Okay, so hey, again, I'm Andrew James at the Montgomery County DA's office. I'm out here in Magnolia right now with Constable Chris Jones and several of his deputies for Precinct 5. Wanted to talk a little bit more about some of the DWI enforcement that's going to be going on this Independence Day weekend. As we mentioned to you earlier, Scott, we're going to have no refusal going on all weekend. We want folks to be safe and smart out on our roadways and enjoy this Independence Day weekend. Don't get drunk and get behind the wheel. Don't get drugged and get behind the wheel. If you're feeling the effects of anything, you need to not be driving a motor vehicle. Constable Jones is going to talk for a couple minutes here. He's got let you know what Precinct 5 is going to be doing this weekend out here in the greater Magnolia area in the west part of Montgomery County.
Chris?
We're going to have several deputies on Saturday and Sunday looking for DWIs. So we're going to request that if you're going to drink and have a good time this weekend, which is fine. Just make sure you have a designated driver. You're going to have somebody that can get you home safe, get you home without hurting anybody else. So we'll have several units on out here looking for DWIs. So I really would like for everybody to be safe. If you need to take an Uber, take an Uber. If you need to call a cab, call a cab. If you need to call a wrecker, have a wrecker come out and pick you up. They'll do that. We just want everybody to be safe and get home so they can enjoy the rest of the year.
Chris, by increase in DWIs, have you noticed quite a few more up this area?
There's been an increase in the last couple months of DWI enforcement from our department and other departments, and we've seen an uptick in DWIs out in this area, the Magnolia, Montgomery area. So we're asking everybody to be safe this weekend. Stay vigilant. Like I said, have a designated driver, have a plan. If you're going to go out on the boat, have somebody designated to drive that boat. If you're going to be around out in your neighborhood, have somebody designated to get you home safe.
And what about the fireworks this weekend?
Fireworks, you're going to stay safe with fireworks. We've had a lot of rain, so we're not really worried about the fire situation. But at the same time, we want everybody, if you're going to be drinking, don't go out there and play with fireworks. Have somebody that can do that, but that's not inebriated.
Scott, I was going to say, Precinct 5 has done a great job this past year in getting impaired drivers and drunk and drug drivers off the streets. Their number of DWI arrests in 2020 compared to 29 was a substantial increase. I don't remember the exact number off the top of my head, but it was close to 60 or 70 more arrests in 2020, in a year where we had lots of folks spending time at home because of the whole COVID-19 situation. They're doing a great job of getting drunk and drug drivers off the roadways, and they're going to do a great job with that this weekend. One of the things that we kind of talked about inside too that we wanted to remind the public about is driving motor vehicles other than cars. When we're talking about golf carts, ATVs, UTVs, those kind of things around a lot of the neighborhoods around here, folks need to be sober in driving those. We've had at least 2 fatalities in our county this year so far because of those vehicles tipping over and folks getting crushed underneath them. And we really need folks to be smart, be safe. Don't get impaired, don't get drunk and get behind the wheel of one of those either. It can be the same as driving an F-250 or some other big vehicle, because those things aren't designed for impacts. They're not designed with the same safety features as a normal roadway motor vehicle. And so you've got situations where what could just be a low speed tipping over can result in someone losing their life. We don't want to see that happen. We want folks to be safe.
A lot of times we see people driving fast in those. The tires aren't made for pavement. They're made for off-road. So we want everybody to be safe. Rounding corners, do anything like that on those. Whether you've been drinking or not, you need to slow down and be safe on those UTVs, side-by-sides, ATVs, golf carts, all those. A lot of them raise up their golf carts, and they're real top-heavy, and they're easy to flip over. So we want everybody to be careful out there. Mind what you're doing. Have a plan, like I said, to get you home safe.
Can you talk about how many officers you're going to actually have out on the roads? Do you have a number compared to usually?
Well, usually we have 3 or 4 out, and I think we're going to double that both nights, Saturday and Sunday night, to have people out. We'll also have officers out in the middle of the day too. So we're not going to just sit there and focus on nighttime. That's going to be the majority of it. But we'll also have people out there in the middle of the day looking for DWIs too. So don't think just because you go home before dark you're safe. So
since basically everything's open now, after last year where a lot of things were closed down, are you expecting a sharp increase in DWIs?
Everything's kind of been open for the last couple of months, so
yeah.
we do see that a lot of people are coming out. Some of the major fireworks shows and stuff like that are expecting a little bit record attendance just for people trying to get out and about and be out a little bit more than they were last year because they were all cooped up. So we see that occurring, and if that occurs, then we'll have more people on the roadways.
Okay.
So,
Hope weekend would be, unfortunately, Constable Jones's folks didn't get to arrest anybody for DWI because folks are being responsible and being smart.
I'd be okay with that.
That would be phenomenal. That's the goal. That's what we want to see happen.
We also want to remind people that even if you're drinking and you're buzzed a little bit, that don't mean you're sober.
Yep.
That don't mean you can drive a vehicle any more than if you think you are totally inebriated. Buzz driving is not sober driving either.
This text that says buzz driving is drunk driving, and as we've, as I know both you gentlemen are very aware, but the legal definition of intoxicated in Texas law is if you do not have the normal use of your mental faculties or the normal use of your physical faculties. So if you're feeling the effects of alcohol, if you're feeling buzzed, you're legally intoxicated, even if you're below a .08. And so same thing with even prescription drugs. They often do impair people. There's a reason a lot of those things say don't drive, don't operate heavy machinery, because they can easily impair somebody and make them a danger to themselves and others on the roadway.
How often do you usually hear about drunk driving, but is there like an average that you could remind people that those are still things that could make you susceptible to impaired driving?
Unfortunately, I don't have an exact number off the top of my head, Jose, but it is something that we continue to see an increase and see an increase. Probably around at most a quarter, if not a little less of the cases, but polysubstance abuse, where we're talking about folks who are taking multiple things or also with alcohol, is something that's also we're seeing an increase in as well too. So say you've had a couple beers, but you've also smoked some pot, and you've been taking some sort of, prescription drug that maybe you don't have prescribed to you, because there's folks that unfortunately do that as well too. But you've got a combination of things that are going to cause similar effects and cause effects that are impairing to folks.
Also, if you are taking prescription drugs and you combine that with alcohol, the alcohol might have a bigger effect, and the drugs might have a bigger effect when you combine the two. So if you are prescribed drugs and you are taking those drugs, but then you mix that with alcohol, a lot of times that'll put somebody over that limit and put somebody in, making it dangerous out there on the road.